Well,
Hello,
now, Arya.
everyone. Welcome,
Hello.
welcome, welcome to World Changing Youth. We're just going to give a few minutes to let people stream in before we get started. It's 12:01 here in Boulder, Colorado. We have some beautiful snow coming in, and we're really excited to have interactivity. So everyone who's here so far, please say hello in the chat. Tell us where you're dialing in from, and we want to say hello. And we're going to have everybody on mute in the beginning, but we will have opportunity for Q&A, so you can put your questions in there as we go along, and then we will pick some questions from Brazil. Wonderful. Hong Kong, Brazil, California. Wow, Florida, California. Amazing. Truly global. Switzerland. Hi, Carrie. That's wonderful. You're here. Excellent. Providence. Yes, we have some Brown students. We'll talk to you about an exciting program we're doing with Brown University. Hello. As everyone, for those who just joined, please say hello in the chat. Tell us where you're dialing in from, and we'll get started here. Wonderful. England. We need to make a map in real time for the next event. This is exciting. Okay, so since it's almost 4 minutes past the hour, I want to honor people's time, and we are going to get started. So we're going to get started with a meditation and a fly through. You guys are all going to get to fly through the Island17 metaverse being built. And it is in progress. So you get to fly through here at the beginning with us. At the beginning of every program we've ever done, we always invite people to enjoy a kind of an immersive experience, to come along the ride and the adventure with us.
Excellent. Welcome, everybody. I think my name is Jeff Hoffman. I am the global chairman of Dream Tank and also the chairman of the board of the Global Entrepreneurship Network. It is, Heidi, it's so cool to see people from so many countries. We just saw the downside of the Zoom world, but now we're on the upside of it, which is the fact that now we just got Stefano from Italy, which is the fact that we can all connect and share in a virtual way like this. And especially you just saw the preview of Island17, being able to go into the metaverse and literally hang out together and do a lot more than share. We can really develop ideas and build relationships and create technology. There's so much, it's just so exciting, all the things that we can do in this new world. And you just saw a little preview of it. For me, I am a lifelong entrepreneur. I've been building companies my entire life, and today I run the Global Entrepreneurship Network. I'll tell you about that first. It's a nonprofit that we created to help anybody, anywhere, launch and scale a venture. Anybody that wants to create their own future by launching a business, taking their idea and turning it into a business. That's what we created the Global Entrepreneurship Network for, and we're now on the ground in 200 countries. But there's a big thing that's missing, which is why we're all here today, which is the voice of youth. In fact, I'm amazed at companies that build products and services for young people that you sit in their boardrooms and their meetings, and there's no young people in there. It's a bunch of much older people pretending that they know what young people need and what they want in the world, and trying to create ideas and products and services for them. And again, the voice is missing. And I'm going to tell you about a day that Heidi's going to talk in a few minutes, but that day I got a phone call from Heidi saying, this isn't good enough. We have to do something that elevates the voice, the creativity, and the contribution of youth. And when she first told me about Dream Tank and said we should partner, and I'd love you to come on and help me with this, I was so excited about it, because she's absolutely right that we have not harnessed and unleashed the power of youth around the world to solve problems and real problems. And the reason it's so critically important is a lot of times when I'm talking to older people about solutions to problems and ideas, a lot of times they start with the reasons why it won't work. And it's because of bad experiences they've had. Well, we'll never get that approved. Well, we don't have enough money. All these negatives. Youth don't have that set of limiting beliefs. Young people still believe everything is possible.
Well,
which is really what we're here to do today, to make sure that young people living in these problems are having the opportunity to present solutions to those problems. So can you still hear me okay?
we lost you for about 30 seconds, but we're good now.
Yeah,
okay.
I think we can hear you now. All good to go.
Okay, yeah. So all I was saying was that it's so critically important to have the youth voice and the youth involvement in problem solving today, because youth approach problems without limits and without filters, and with knowledge of all of today's technology, like the metaverse and like gamification. So when Heidi first reached out and said, I have this idea, this dream called Dream Tank, I couldn't have been more excited about the series of steps that we've gone through to get to where where we are today. So I just wanted to welcome everybody, and I wanted to say that it's all about solving problems. And that's what Island17 is. It's a challenge solving platform done in the form of a metaverse game, and bringing all of us together to get everybody's collective intelligence and passion to go make the world a better place. That's what we're here to do. So Heidi?
Thank you, Jeff. Thank you. It's been quite an exciting journey. So if you want to put my slide up. So we've learned a lot. We really learned a lot. We've been working with youth for 7 years. My background is in impact investing and social entrepreneurship for 19 years. I'm a systems thinker, a futurist, and a kid at heart. I have 2 children, Summer and Cody. Cody's now 14, Summer is now 17. And during my travels with social entrepreneurship, I saw a big gap in new thinking. And like Einstein said, we can't solve the problems using the same thinking that created them. So who we are is really, we've been listening to the kids. We've been listening to the youth. And we've been working with youth from ages 8 through 28. And as we were doing our Dream Tank programming, which has been structured as an accelerator in real life and then virtually during COVID, always we ask kids and young people, what are you passionate about? What makes you come alive? And a lot of them chose video games. And then we say, Well, how can you use your gift and what you love to address one of the sustainable development goals? And then we help them develop a business model, and we have the open mindset of that anything is possible. There's no dream crushing allowed. We will not tell anyone in this universe, metaverse, that that they can't do something. We'll give them self-assessment questions. They can decide if they want to pivot. They can decide if they want to reduce the scope. But really, this is about creating a world where anything's possible. And we invite mentors to come and live in a world where we listen to youth and we support their ideas to dream up and design the future. And so we currently have a system, sadly, that is degeniusizing our youth. And we love Buckminster Fuller. We are very, very inspired by so many things that he has done and stood for. And this pretty much says it all. Well, the system is not encouraging the genius to come out. So we need to do that. So we need them more than ever. We need young people's ideas more than ever. Exactly who you are, wherever you are from, your voice matters. And the way you see the world matters because you have a gift. A lot of times our gifts come from our pain and our trauma. So if you have a challenging situation in your life, you can solve for that with us. And we've found a really great way to do it now that is self-motivated, right? Nobody's going to be telling anyone what to do. Nobody's going to come in here and have adults telling them what to do. We are here to support you, what you want to do. And of course, there's guidelines and framework to work with around professional communication, how to work with mentors. We give you lots of coaching in order to compete and excel and be extraordinary in the Web3 future of work world. And so why are we doing it 100% self-motivated? Why are we doing it so nobody is told what to do? Because we have been listening and we can see that it is frustrating for young people to not be heard in their lives and in a society. And so we found a way to make it that it's never experienced by them, by young people, that we are trying to dominate or tell them they don't know something or they don't know what to do. So I'm sure that all of you here, I don't know one person that I've spoken to in the past couple of years that doesn't know a young person between the age of 8 and 28, or mostly I'm hearing a lot about teens, preteens, teens, and early 20s, is really feeling challenged and unseen and don't have a lot of hope for their future because a lot of offerings like this are not obvious or easily accessible yet. So next. So right here in Boulder, Colorado, we have, and we are not alone. There's communities everywhere around the world where kids actually don't feel safe going to school. We had a mass shooting 1 mile from my daughter's high school about a year ago. And then we've had a shooting threat a couple weeks ago that is causing a lot of fear in the kids. And they don't feel safe going to school. And that's not a good environment for learning when you're afraid. So there's dread because they don't really see a way forward. Again, this is coming from the voices of young people I've spoken to. And so the other thing that we're seeing, not just security in schools, but it's also the socioeconomic instability, the climate crises, mental health support, lack of reporting bullying, this culture around snitches get stitches. It's really causing this, the challenge. So anyway, we want to get into listening to the youth, but the point is, now is the time. Young people are struggling more than ever. A society that does not focus on their youth is a dying society. And that is a really powerful statement and maybe aggressive, but it is true. They are our future and we must do better. And so we have solutions here that we've been testing and we're going to move forward now. Bonisha, I'm going to introduce you first. I met Bonisha at ETH Denver, and she was 16 years old. And my first question, she was so excited to be there. I couldn't believe she got there. I was just like, how did you convince your parents to go? She's like, they support my passion and my dream. And I had no idea what an incredible journey you had even leading up to you getting there. And I've been so grateful to be working with you, partnering with you, supporting you, watching your TED Talk and crying my eyes out, which everyone here needs to watch. Just so inspired by you. And I'm just going to go ahead and let you introduce yourself.
Thank you for that. Hi, everyone. I'm Bonisha Mitra. I'm a 17-year-old founder, innovator, and entrepreneur. But above all else, I'm a learner. As a 12th grader at California High School in San Ramon, which is about an hour train ride from San Francisco, I lead a pretty busy life. I'm on the varsity dance team and the Model United Nations Secretary General at my school. It may seem like I have everything figured out, but in all honesty, it takes great effort and certain sacrifices. Sometimes I feel like I'm balancing 3 lives in one. One life being a regular high school student, another being a ballet teacher at tutu school for the cutest babies aged 18 months all the way to 8 years old, and the last being a founder and innovator trying to change the world through technology and initiatives. Through it all, I've truly realized my value and worth for the world, helping people find a voice. There were certain stories and experiences that truly built me into who I am today, and why I prioritize helping others in my career and in my future. At the naive age of 9, I was abused and sexually assaulted by my grandparents' caretaker in India. Through years of grieving, I didn't let something so traumatizing instigate destruction, but rather growth. I was fortunate enough to leave and go back to America, where a stable source of education, a roof over my head, and unquestioned food and water was available to my needs. I grew up. I didn't live in fear, I lived in normalcy. But what I was fortunate enough to get aren't available for all women and people around the world, in India and others. The patriarchy is upheld within these vulnerable areas. They're not progressive and seem to be trapped in traditional stereotypes. This is due to the way of life in vulnerable areas itself, with the prevalent caste system in India specifically taking place to uphold traditions in Hindu culture, instigating higher misogyny, like having dowries. Thus, India has an incredibly slow progressive culture. Men being the sole breadwinners of the family and women's values being shriveled down to taking care of their children and cooking food for their family. Forget women getting money, they can't even receive a full education that men are expected to complete. With the lack of education and societal support, women are wholeheartedly dependent on their husbands to get money. They've never got the sense of stability and security in my life that I once got. I want my future career and education to ensure an enriched lifestyle with more protection and safety in hopes for people's voice around the world that were stripped from them. I recognize the privilege I have, and I want to use this privilege to join the movement and initiate a change on a global scale. So far, I've been building technologies and initiatives to decrease domestic violence and sexual assault in developing countries. One example is creating Project Sundar, a global scale organization that teaches women self-defense, distributes pepper spray and alarm chains, and holds women's rights events in over 5 continents. Within Project Sundar and Island17, my main motive will always be to amplify voices for people in vulnerable areas, not just on a small scale, but on a global scale. Society has blinded everyone to the true impact each one of us really holds. Age doesn't matter, race doesn't matter, sexual orientation doesn't matter. Motivation matters, resilience matters, and experiences matter. I'm a 17-year-old bisexual woman in technology that's also a person of color, and I'm not just an advocate for women. I'm a leader who will not potentially help people in developing countries at one point, but will change the way people are treated. In this room, each human being is specialized into impacting the world in one way or another. Don't wait for a certain time in your life to make a change. Don't be lazy and say that it's impossible. I am the perfect example. a 17-year-old girl who's using technology and initiatives to actually build a change. So if I can do it, so can you. Thank you.
Wow, I'm like, thank you, Bonisha. And now we have Stephen. Wow, anyone want to just comment from our round table that we have here before we move on to Stephen?
Hello, my name is Prasad. I'm also originally from India, and I really appreciate Bonisha's guts to do this kind of thing to help girls and women at large, irrespective of where they are. This needs to be fixed forever, otherwise, as men, I can say fearlessly, we are not doing well that way. So we have to fix this serious problem around the globe. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. I think a huge step in the first place is just acknowledging that there's an issue. I think that itself, if you ask a man 20 years ago in India, if they see that this is an issue, they would probably say no. So I think it's already a huge step forward that we are acknowledging the issue. And I think with more and more people on board, it can actually be a pivotal point in societal norms. But yeah, thank you, Prasad.
Thank you. And now we have Stephen Luis Howell. We met Stephen through Jeff, and he joined our team enthusiastically. He is 22 years old and has an incredible story and already 2 businesses and several he's already been experimenting with before that. So Stephen, take it away.
Thank you so much, Heidi. Yeah, hey everyone. My name is Stephen Luis Howell. I'm from San Jose, California. And my story as an entrepreneur really begins in college when actually I'm about to get kicked out of university. It's my first year in college, and I'm just making all the wrong choices, and I'm about to get kicked out. And a mentor comes and sits down with me, and he looks at me across the table, and he tells me that I'm on the way to a mediocre life. I'm on my way to be like a Mike that popped in our Zoom room. So don't be like Mike. But he told me that I was on a gateway to a mediocre life, and it really hit me hard, and then it impacted me. Growing up in the Bay Area, it's you see all sorts of successes all around you, but you also have a lot of pressure. You have a lot of social media problems going around. Different sorts of influences on your life. And so it impacted me so much, I started to change and transform and started doing personal growth things and wellness healing journeys. And along those lines, I also found my passion and my purpose. I found that I loved wellness. I loved improving my own wellness and helping the wellness of my friends and family. So I'm now creating an app called Grace, which is going to do that globally. The Quokkas I started getting into NFTs and cryptocurrency, and actually became a leader and speaker in the space. So recently I just spoke at the world's biggest NFT conference in London. And so freshman year me, on the gateway to a mediocre life, couldn't have even dreamt this up, could not have dreamt this up. But I shifted in a way that it made an impact on my life, and now in terms of Island17 and how these things relate to Island17 is it allows for more growth and more community in building something like this, because it can be very difficult to go off and build your own companies as a young entrepreneur. And really cheers to Bonisha for doing such a fantastic job at her young age as well. And so moving forward into Island17 and the tech partners that we're looking for in our ecosystem of young entrepreneurs, we're excited to bring young people and people who have great technologies together, link them together, and in different ways you can partner with Island17 with your business or company, and allow young people to use your technology to go on and change the world. There's 3 different levels that you can join in at. And it's really just a wonderful opportunity to have your company be seen by young people who are innovating in the space, like Benicia, myself, and more. That being said, thank you so much. I think we have a quick pause here for some Q&A.
Excellent. Thank you. So we have some questions. One is, I was wondering, how has Island17 come on as development for kids, as many games are addictive, as I see even in my kids? I'll start out answering that because I also have seen it in my kids. Actually, game addiction is what led to the creation of Island17, because I saw a lot, especially during COVID, kids were really grasping on gaming and screens because they didn't have any other connection point. And so it's gotten even worse. My son got into gaming related trouble early on in COVID at 12 years old. And I saw that it was his lifeline to connection. So I didn't want to take it away. Instead, I said, I'm going to give you a mentor to work with, to use your brilliance for something productive that makes the world better. And so first removing the screens for a while, and then reintroducing the screens in a positive way, the technology in a positive way with limits. And everything that we create in the metaverse is meant to be translated in the real world. So their love of technology is going to bring them back into the real world. So really, we're looking to meet them where they're at, and then bring and give these incredible appropriate technology tools to use in a healthier way.
I see the question from Jim in there. Yeah, Jim, the first mentor who sat me down has continued, being in my life, and it's a blessing. So he's a psychologist by the name of Bradley Smith, and is building the Grace app alongside me now. So basically taking the same lessons I learned from him and putting it into an app so we can distribute it to as many people as possible.
Great. Any other questions? I have a question for Bonicia. Bonicia, what was one of you are so confident and so on fire, and you had such a powerful message for all of us. Like, why can't we do it if you can do it too? And other young people. But what was the kind of the hardest moment maybe you found in your entrepreneurial journey, and how did you overcome it?
Yeah, I think that's a really good acknowledgement to make, because we do fail a lot. And I think that's how I do grow the most, through failing. I think the hardest moment was definitely trying to also appreciate being a high school kid. I grew up with so many all these friends in my group, and they're all going to football games, and I'm in Denver, definitely not near a football game. So definitely just slowing down a lot. I didn't get a chance to do that in my high school career, trying to be a ballerina and also a founder and a high school student. So I think slowing down is a really key thing to do, to actually enjoy moments of life and the little pockets of happiness, or else life can start to feel a bit dull and monotonous. So definitely working on that right now as well, just slowing down, savoring the moments, looking at pretty sunsets, and going to football game parties and all of that. Yeah, just if I'm not happy, I won't be able to make other people happy. So definitely prioritizing myself and my mental health as well. Yeah.
That is a really, really amazing point. I want to touch on that, because when we talk about entrepreneurship, in the past, so far, 9 out of 10 businesses fail. It's very stressful. And you hear a lot that founders just never sleep, they never eat, they don't see their family. We don't want to create a new world from that overwhelm. We want to use entrepreneurship, but we want to give support to the best ideas sooner. So they don't have, everyone doesn't have to be a CEO, a CFO, you don't have to become all of those roles to found a company and have your idea out there through our metaverse and our ecosystem. You'll get your ideas supported sooner so you can be in your gift and not give away the rest of your life. And we want to create more of a holistic way. Yeah.
Yeah, Heidi, I want to jump on that as well, because you got it exactly right. The whole point of what we're doing here is creating a community. And the reason that so many of those entrepreneurs are doing 7 jobs is because they're alone. They don't have anybody, they don't know anyone, they don't have the connections, they're trying to do things they don't have the skill set to do. So the whole point of the island is a community of like-minded people that have come together to help each other. Otherwise, you know, I've been doing the entrepreneurship thing for a long time. It is a lonely journey. And in fact, you know, I always tell entrepreneurs now, entrepreneurs brag. Look at me, and I'm an entrepreneur. I work 7 days a week, 24/7. I always tell them that is not a badge of honor. That is a badge of inefficiency. When I designed my companies, our goal was to design companies where we could, you know, like today in my life, I schedule my time at the gym first before I schedule any business meetings. I take care of all, you know, everything from your physical, emotional, spiritual health. That should be on your calendar before you accept anything else on your calendar. But it's easier to do that if you have a community of people that can fill in the gaps. So that is literally what we're here for, so that entrepreneurs can focus on a holistic life, not just on working all the time.
Yeah, great point. Great point. It's not a badge of honor. In fact, if somebody were to say that, we'd say, go away from your computer and take a break. We don't want that. We don't want you to show up exhausted and feel like this is a gift, and we can do it when we help each other. It's amazing. So thank you. And we have one more question. Jim Butts. Yes, Brad Feld is and his wife Amy Batchelor are annual donors since we first started, and their Anchor Point Family Foundation. And Techstars has been a major partner and a sponsor in the past, and will be again when we're ready to scale. So thanks for asking that. Next, any other questions before we move on? So Elizabeth, I'm so excited to introduce Elizabeth. She's been teeing up and managing all these crazy Zoom bombs. And she is all about water and water networks and wisdom councils. And she's got such an incredible background and has really brought so much of what we're doing to life and is incredibly committed. And Elizabeth, I would love for you to come on now and say hello.
Thank you. I want to pick up on that thread that Jeff pulled in and Heidi, because truly we're all in and on this planet together. And I really believe that it's actually an evolutionary imperative that we learn how to work together, because if we don't, we'll sink. And so I just needed to put that in, that we're in this together. And, exclamation point. Like how do we actually work together? And we have a lot of learning to do just around that, right? So yeah, we have a program that we're starting in Island17 that we're designing now. And it's in sort of full design mode. It's super exciting, but we don't want to go too far because we really need to get the youth to be part of this design. And the design challenge itself, first of all, is how do we design the game with youth as the designers? Because they know what's going to interest them. They know what concerns them the most. They know, and they really want to contribute, but don't know how.
And they know what's fun.
And they know what's fun and how to have fun. They still know how to have fun. That's really important. How do we continue to have fun? So it's a 3-month journey for each fellowship, and the fellowship comes together in cohorts that travel through this process together, learning how to create and how to be creators and how to be co-creators, most importantly, and that in the game is like the point system and the reward system amplifies when they really start working together and crossing sectors and learning how to collaborate. Working with mentors. The design challenges focused on the SDGs, all 17 of them. And it's really focused on innovating and finding the new paradigm that Heidi said, you know, creating the new system that from the roots up that really just allows us to transition gracefully into a world that allows far more people to thrive. I'm going for Buckminster Fuller saying 100%. 100% of the population on the planet can thrive. We have that capacity. So the Island17 is powered by a youth-led network. It's like Heidi and I sat on a youth event in the UN, and it was a whole bunch of old people talking about what the youth needed, and there were youth in the room. And so we really want to not just put the youth in a chair at the table, but put them as leaders at the table. And youth are natural problem solvers when they have the support. And if they have, you know, the concerned parents and community behind them, and they're working with well-vetted, high caliber adult mentors, and that they can actually begin creating businesses from this journey that they're on, starting from the 3-month fellowship. So there's a lot of benefits in the fellowship, really learning a lot of technical skills in terms of coding and design work and music and media production and learning about artificial intelligence and virtual reality. And it's through these experiences that they'll have the opportunity to really gain that personal growth and confidence and learn how to be a person of integrity, because they're also going to learn about how to bring what's inside of them out in a really responsible, good way. So the SDGs, if you're not familiar with them, are the UN's basically global goals of how do we create the world where 100% of the population has what they need to thrive. And so Island17 has created these into basically 4 worlds. Sorry, something.
You weren't presenting, so I'm going to do it for you.
Oh, okay. Okay, so great. So I'm not moving the slides anymore?
No, because you weren't sharing, so I just went ahead and
thank you, dear.
You went ahead and did it.
Okay,
Yeah.
and Island17 really pulls together all 17, where the partnerships start really coalescing and coming together across the world. And Mumby's going to speak to that in just a little bit. But really, you know, finding people in Kenya that can code your design, or you know, bookkeepers in Sri Lanka, or really being able to bring in the global community. So we have already some sample designs in the works. The design challenges, one that we're starting with is the water ocean, because we know that water is life. Without liquid water and our sweet spot in the sun, we would look like Mars. There wouldn't be life on the planet. And so along with that is all the other elements to, like, once we help our humanity return to a good relationship with water, then we can start working on the other sort of areas of dysfunction in our species. So that's sort of at the heart of the fellowship. And the idea is that there's also like actual journeys that they go on. If it's not just virtual, it's in person, and ideally that we start forming these cohorts and communities, and the people can form within their community and start working and forming these wisdom councils in their own community, that like a youth council in their community, where they start really looking at the issues that their water needs, or their food insecurity or gender equality, and creating self-defense classes for girls, and picking up garbage from the creek. And that's one of the key elements to Island 17, is linking the game to actual tangible field projects and making their world a better place. And so I would like to introduce Mumbi, who's our chief of staff and just an amazing woman. She's a family farmer in Kenya, and has a family farm. You see there in the photo, beautiful produce, indigenous produce to Africa is their specialty. And she's also going to share with us about our alliances and the potential for creating alliances. Thank you, Mumbi.
Thank you so much, Elizabeth. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, depending where you're joining us from. My name is Mumbi Thande. I am Chief of Staff here at Island 17. My passion is empowering women and youth in agribusiness. As Elizabeth pointed out, that was a lovely picture of me out in the field. That was actually some broccoli we had just planted, and we were about to harvest it. It was going to market. So we grow products and we go ahead and sell them either locally, or we export them to the EU or to the US. It's a very funny story how I got into this business. I was working in corporate. Then this is a family business that we have, and my parents were getting a bit older, and I wanted to continue the legacy. So I went ahead and joined the business. And I loved what Jeff talked about. You know, when we're entrepreneurs, we are everything. Currently, I am the manager, I am the bookkeeper, I am the IT person. So entrepreneurship is a very lonely journey, but it's very, very fulfilling. So I want to go ahead and talk about one of the reasons why I joined Island 17, not so much as a chief of staff, but because of its international opportunities and its allies. One of them being, the key thing being, is the mandate in fulfilling the UN SDG goals, which 194 countries have agreed upon. The second thing is the international opportunities, whereby programs we are highlighting in this session, one that Elizabeth has just spoken about, will be made available for youth all over Africa. We have myself in Kenya. We have additional parties out in Niger and Guinea who would love to collaborate with Island 17 and make these programs available to all youth. Within my business, the way we foresee this happening is once we go ahead and have full programs, we'll be able to invite people onto our business where we have a community where they'll be able to engage with other people, learn, experiment, and grow. And then lastly, one of the things that I loved about Island 17 was just the key mission in creating a safe and collaborative world for the youth to inherit. The youth are the future. So then what are we asking? We are calling upon parents to go ahead and sign up their kids. Our programs at Island 17 are safe, supportive, accessible, and engaging. This allows our youth members to reconnect with nature, gain self-esteem, self-confidence, and learn real-life experiences. We are calling upon parents to go ahead and sign up their kids from age 8 to 28. We do have a youth fellowship program. We do have a college preparation program, and we have just younger kids who can come. So all ages are all welcome to this program. And then we do have opportunities for youth. This year we are so excited. Last year we were accepted into Brown internship, and again this year we were accepted again, and we had 9 applicants who went ahead and applied, and I know some of them are on this session, so welcome so much. And these are just excellent students who are doing excellent things within their field. Unfortunately, we can only take 2 students, but because we have 9, we're calling upon anyone who wants to go ahead and join us. We have a proposal where we can go ahead and fund all students to go ahead and be with us during the January 2023 internship, and just go ahead and experience what Island 17 can do for them, and then we can also learn from them. The other thing that we're also doing is we're doing the youth fellowship that Elizabeth spoke about. And then we have a real life workshop out in Baja that Heidi will go ahead and talk about. Thank you so much.
I just want to check in on the timing. we were trying to get this session within 45 minutes, but with all the Zoom bombings, we are a little behind. So I want to respect people's time, and I hope you'll stay until the top of the hour. But we want to allow you to just, anyone who needs to leave right now, and then we'll continue and finish for anyone who can stay. We have an info session on this coming Saturday. So I posted the link here. We're going to have a lot more time to answer questions, go through all of these things, talk about all the different types of opportunity. It's going to be more of a meeting than a presentation. We'll go through these things also, but we're going to stop for a lot of questions and answers. So I will thank you everyone for coming. If you have to go, please follow us on all socials. We're just getting started. We've been in stealth mode. Thank you. And now I want to introduce Nikki. Hi, Nikki.
Hi.
Nikki.
Hi.
Nikki and I known each other for several years.
Yes. It's been a wild experience and so fulfilling. You know, to do this purpose-driven work is just so amazing. So I so appreciate being here. I just wanted to breeze through some of these slides since we're over time. There are sponsorships available. The number one question we get asked every time we do a presentation like this is, how do I help? How do I get involved? And so we have various levels. This is just your basic. You can be, have exposure through logos, websites, co-producing media together, or we can be a part of this DAO. It's a new form of governance. And basically, in the new way, what we're trying to do is not fix a broken system, but we're literally trying to recreate and replace it with something even better. And so a distributed autonomous organization is one way to approach it. And we're finding that there are even chinks in that armor. And so we're looking at bringing the humanization into it.
And then one of the ways is economically incentivized collaboration is one of the challenges where collaboration has broken down in the past. And this structure will.
There are various ways for people to participate. And as stakeholders, you can be a part as a nonprofit, as a corporate sponsor, as somebody that's just interested in the SDG goals. There are many ways to go through this. Go ahead to the next slide. As a nonprofit, we can reach out to global mental health education alternatives. We talked about that today. And that was basically, trying to solve for these problems that are in our faces like right now. I haven't talked to very many families that haven't been touched by these school shootings, by COVID, by the isolation and kids' mental health. Move on. That's just one example. SDG-oriented communities, we are focused on life underwater, and that basically has brought us to be able to, in the last cohort, build a little game for ocean cleanup. It's just one example of many that can take us to another level. Next slide. In the community, we can be a collaborator, a co-promoter, a co-creator. It depends on how much hands-on you want to do. You can either support from the outside and go on your merry way knowing you did a good thing, or you can come be a part of us. You can sit on our board, you can be on the Jedi Council, you can donate utilities or services or any other kind of message other than just cash. And then as a co-creator, you can actually own your own island within the metaverse of Island17. Corporations have to date had some very strict ways to participate, but we're challenging them to come in and create something new and different. And so we're asking them to do more than just a financial contribution. We're asking them to collaborate. So there's more on that coming. Next. And we have 3 tiers or 5 tiers of sponsorship, and they're in the beginning stages. So you can help us co-create on that. So you can be as simple as a logo. You can be as developed and interactive as having somebody literally come in and have their own island within the environment. I really would like to take this to another level, but we are out of time. The Island17 can be found at island17.io, and we look forward to communicating with you.
And I'll just leave it at this. We'll close just by seeing this beautiful cove. This is virgin land. You see between the beach, that whole valley in between, we're going to be developing 20 acres. We've acquired this part of the land. We're acquiring more of it. And so we're inviting people to come invest with us. You can invest, you can lend, you can grant, and you can be a part of this. So just contact me if you're interested in this. And then we will also be hosting accelerators, camps, retreats there. Talk about getting kids off of screens into the real world. This is a great way to do it. And so we are available to talk about all of these next steps. And that is Real Color of Water. So thank you. Call to main email. We have a bunch of emails that to follow up on different opportunities. Just keep it simple with we are at Island17.io to Mumbi, and she will disseminate to the team members. Mumbi and Nikki will be working on following up on corporate and sponsorships. Stephen will be following up on tech partnerships. I will be following up on funding opportunities, and Mumbi will work, we'll talk to parents as well. So I think that's it for today. So I want to thank you all for being here, and thank you for being patient and with all the weird glitches, which is why we need to actually meet in the metaverse, and we need your support to build it faster so we don't have that problem happening, because we're going to have major security. Well, thank you, everyone. Thank you, Jeff, for coming to our meeting on Saturday. For more information, or we'll set up a one-on-one call as you follow up. Thanks again, and have a great day.